Welcome, my friends, to the Black Diamond Call for Monday, the 5th of September. John Lavenia, as always, is here with you live from Salt Lake City, Utah. And we've got an excellent call tonight. Before we get to go, I will give our announcements, our big announcement, which we mention every day of the week here, is that in less than 2 months, in fact, it's just about, I don't know, six and a half weeks from now, or whatever it is, we're getting together in Las Vegas, Nevada for our first ever Marketing Mastery event here inside Digital Altitude. It's an exciting time, especially, consider this, especially since it's our first one, and all of you who are hearing this live right now, you get to be right there at the beginning, right? This is actually the beginning of Digital Altitude. I don't know how many of you who were maybe just got started here have grasped the magnitude of the timing of all this. It's a pretty awesome position to be in. And of course, tonight we're going to be hearing from someone who knows a whole lot about positioning and timing and vision, the vision upon which we can build our business. So definitely, if you have not yet gotten a ticket, grab a ticket to the Marketing Mastery event. You can get the early bird pricing still, and I believe there are still VIP tickets available right inside your Digital Altitude membership site. So when you log in, you'll see that right on the dashboard. So definitely take advantage of that. And what else? Tune in on Wednesday evenings at the same time, 9 p.m. Eastern, for our On the Rise call, where we hear from a different marketer each week to show us more of the nuts and bolts, how-to stuff that happens on the marketing side here with Digital Altitude. But tonight, we're here on the Black Diamond. Now, of course, the Black Diamond, I do have to give our disclaimers, which I give each week. This call is very raw, very street, unscripted. You're not going to hear any canned presentations or anything like that. Typically what we have here on this call is a top earner from within our community, someone who's been around for a while and who's gotten to the top of the mountain, so to speak, hence the name Black Diamond, right? That's a skiing reference. If you guys are not skiers, if you were, you would know that a Black Diamond is an expert level ski run. So these are people who have mastered the art and the science of marketing and business building here in the online digital community. And so we have a different speaker each week. But once again, different topic, different speaker, unscripted. We never know what we're going to hear on this call, so it's always very exciting. Even when I hear myself say stuff, I'm like, my goodness, where did that come from? Because, again, it's very raw. And so the rules are, take what you like and leave the rest. Okay, so this is like a buffet. And as I always say, if anybody says anything that offends you, you'll get over it. Again, once again, this is just how we operate our businesses at the top, how we perform, and it's different for each of us. Okay, so take what you like, and see from each person who comes out here each week things that you can take and assimilate and take action on. Because the bottom line is, I can give you my truth, but that doesn't help you, right? You need your truth, and that's what's alive in you, what you see working in your life and in your business. That's what this call is all about. So having said that, let me introduce the topic that we're going to be talking about tonight, and then we're going to bring out our special guest host. So I was thinking back to when I was newer in this whole online marketing and even offline marketing world. And I say newer because I don't believe that I've arrived, okay, despite the fact that I'm the host of the Black Diamond Call. I could still learn some new turns and twists, right? The old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I don't know about that, right? I'm still learning. I'm still the student despite all the success that I've had up to this point. And I was thinking back to those early days when I was even newer than I am now. Yes, 15 years ago or 20 years ago. And I was thinking back to what caused me to even show up in this space. Why am I here? It's a question that we can all ask ourselves right now. Why are you here? I mean, you can go anywhere and do anything with your time. You've chosen to be here. There's a reason for that. And I would venture that reason has something to do with your vision. Yes, a vision for a better future for yourself, your family, for your lifestyle, for your ability to get the results that you want in your life, rather than just bumbling around like bumper cars in a bumper car ring, and living more as the effect of circumstances rather than the cause of the circumstances. In other words, it was our vision for a greater life, greater possibilities that led us to entrepreneurship, and ultimately here to Digital Altitude. And there's an old saying, there's a pretty smart guy named Solomon who said, where there is no vision, the people perish. Now, can we look outside Can we look at what generally goes on in society and in the corporate world, and can we see the truth of that statement, where there is a lack of vision and there are people perishing? Now, that doesn't mean that they're perishing like, physically, although we can see some evidence of that as well, right? When people have sort of neglected themselves and not only their lifestyle, but their bodies and their hope even for their own potential in the future. Right? Can we see evidence of that physically? We can, but can we also see evidence of that in terms of how people are fulfilled or not fulfilled with how they spend their days? I think it's very easy. I don't think you have to look very hard to see a lot of people that are kind of unfulfilled. So where there is no vision, the people will perish, as Solomon said. Now, when I look at all of us here, right, we're doing something deliberate with our time. We're choosing to learn new skills, new aptitudes, this thing called marketing, right, which a lot of people, even in the home business space, really don't even know the definition of the word. And yet we're here going above and beyond, not just the job and the corporate world, but we've got a vision that is causing us to go above and beyond a level of competence that most people, even in the home business space, may not even consider. It's a very laudable thing. So everyone here, you've got my respect. Just the fact that you're here inside Digital Altitude. But now that we're here, now that our vision has led us here, what are we going to do with this opportunity that's at hand? And how quickly, here's the question, how quickly will we like to see the fruits of our vision come into play? How quickly are we able to realize and manifest our vision inside our business and, yes, inside our bank accounts? Now, I've said from time to time that I believe anyone can get started in a business or even in a job for that matter and make $1 million. Yes, anyone can make $1 million. I believe that. Now, the only question is, how long is that going to take? A lifetime? Maybe for some people. A year? Yeah, right, for some people. An hour, right? You talk to billionaires. Yeah, we could do that in an hour, right? So there's a time-money ratio that we have to consider, and when we look at our vision and how fervently and how diligently we go after it, we can actually compress the time that it takes to realize the fruits of our vision. We can cause things to start moving more quickly. And one of the best ways to do that, in fact, the fastest way that I have discovered to accelerate, to deliberately and responsibly accelerate our own evolution into, let's say, a millionaire, right? Since I'm talking about money here, the fastest way for us to accelerate our evolution into becoming that millionaire would be something that I've discovered and that our co-host tonight has discovered throughout the years that works again and again and again in the lives of aspiring new entrepreneurs. And it worked for me. I went from somebody who was just hoping for success to someone who was a top earner in my chosen field. And it didn't take a long time, but it's because I used a great accelerant. And I'll give you a hint of what it is, and then we're going to bring out our co-host tonight. The great accelerant is when I immersed myself in the environment of success. Right? I want you to think about it like this. In fact, let me go out before I talk, okay, because I want to hear from this guy, and so do you. It's the guy who had the vision to start this whole movement that we now know as Digital Altitude, Mr. Michael Force. Michael, are you with us here, sir?
I sure am, John. How are you?
Hooray. Okay, very good, very good. So, Michael, we're
playing with I was playing with the host code there.
Okay. Well, you got it all handled.
Got it all figured out. Yep.
We're talking about the great accelerator to becoming what you want to become based on your own vision. And of course, you had the vision to even start this. I mean, this is tremendous. This didn't happen overnight. Okay, this whole Digital Altitude thing, the reason we're all here. So first of all, applause to you. Thank you for having the vision to do this. But thank you even more for following through on your vision. And I think that you're not unique in the fact that you've got vision and you're willing to do something about it. Every single person on this line is looking to accomplish something great. And now we've got a beautiful platform to do it. So where do you want to go with this conversation?
Well, I think you're going in the right direction. I think it all comes down to vision. I was just actually talking to my daughter about that. And, if you want to get something done, you first have to think about it, then you got to believe it, and then you got to go out and do it. And that's about the only thing that manifests anything in this universe. So totally in line with that, and that's exactly what I did. I've had the thought, that it's something I wanted to accomplish, something I wanted to do, and, of course, I believed I could do it, and I went after it, and I just got to work and went and started doing it day in and day out. But I'll tell you that there hasn't been a time where in my life, I mean, even since I was in the Marines, that, this is just the kind of the modus operandi to get things done and to achieve your goals and to have success. It just, first a thought, and then it comes down to your level of belief, and then it comes down to your level of action. And then if you get those three things going, that pretty much changes everything in your life. And that's what's done it for me. So I know you can attest to that for sure as well, John.
Absolutely. Well, what happened to me, and I'll just tell just a little bit of my story here. When I was, in fact, I don't know that I've told too many people here in Digital Altitude this part of my story, but I was in my first top-tier direct sales business, and I talked to my sponsor about, I wanted to go faster. I wanted to get faster results, and very anxious to quit my job and to double my income, and all the reasons that I had gotten started in the first place. And there was an event coming up. Like I mentioned before, I had immersed myself in the environment of success. Well, my first big opportunity to do that was an event that was coming up in another country, and it was on the calendar. I just happened to show up here at a time, when that event was only a couple weeks away. And it was thousands and thousands of dollars to go to this event, and not to mention travel time and expenses and time away from work, which is how I was supporting myself at that time. And I was hoping to be very efficient. You see, I'm very methodical and efficient. I've got plans, you see. And I said to my sponsor at the time, I said, well, look, will not going to this event hurt my ability to make money? I mean, that's the bottom line. I'm here to make money, okay? I want to know if it's that detrimental to my results if I choose to bow out of this experience that you're recommending I have and get on a plane and take time off of work and spend thousands of dollars, which at the time was not a comfortable thing for me. And he said, yes, absolutely, you'll make less money if you're not participating fully with this event. I said, all right, man, I'll go. And I went to that event. And you know what happened, Michael? I wound up, like I said before, immersing myself in an environment where success was not just a theory. It was a reality that was happening for these people. I liken it to, and I mentioned this to people I coach, I liken it to learning a new language. Like if I wanted to learn, let's say, Chinese, right, what would be the fastest way for me to do that? Well, I eat lots of Chinese food, and I hear little words here and there, come from the kitchen sometimes. And I pick up a little bit, and on the back of the fortune cookie, fortune, there's sometimes the learn Chinese stuff, depending on which Chinese restaurant you go to. And I pick up a word here and there, and then I forget it. But if I really wanted to learn Chinese, what if I just went to China, and where everybody's speaking Chinese, and I'm immersed now in that environment where that's not just a theory or something that's done, here and there, but nonstop, all day and all night, it's Chinese. Man, I pick it up quick, right? So the immersion technique is what I've applied. And I've never found anything that will accelerate a person's evolution into whatever they want to become faster than immersing themselves in the environment where that reality exists. And of course, we've got a beautiful opportunity to do that right here, which you've provided in Vegas coming up in a couple months. But if we can go down that road, how do people accelerate the accomplishment of their vision? What have you seen for the countless people that you've coached, that you've mentored, that people that you've worked with throughout the years? You've been around this industry, I think, at least as long as I have. So you've got some wisdom. We want to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely, John. I mean, it kind of goes back to, I think, the limiting beliefs that most people have is what disables most of their, abilities to believe. I mean, that's the second thing. Everybody has thoughts and ideas. I mean, thoughts and ideas are a dime a dozen. But the difference maker between those who achieve them and, and get to the top of the mountain, so to speak, whatever that may be for them, obviously it being a metaphor, then it comes down to belief. And, I was actually just having this conversation with my uncle, my wife's uncle, and I guess I call it, uncle-in-law, brother-in-law. And he was telling me that, obviously in France, the whole culture, and we just got back from this, so I can speak to this, the whole culture in general has more or less a limiting belief. When you go over there and, they ask you, oh, how long are you on vacation for? And you say, oh, I'm here for 2 months, and their jaw hits the floor because they just don't believe how anything like that is even possible because they're all, there's a lot of, socialistic programs over there and things. So, for anybody to achieve anything, if anybody's making over $5,000 a month, they're just, it's unbelievable to them that anybody could do this. So that really comes down to ultimately the limiting belief. We used to call it in a previous program, and one of my mentors used to just call it this financial thermostat. And ultimately, where's your financial thermostat at? What do you believe is possible? Because anything's possible. Just because someone tells you that, you're worth only $10 an hour or $20 an hour or $50,000 a year or whatever is not the case. You're just aligning with their belief. And ultimately, that's the reason you settle. But if you decided to align with somebody who told you you were worth $1 million a year or $5 million a year, and they were out there doing $1 million or $5 million a year, it's probably not that long. I know you can attest to this too, John, that it'll be the case for you. You'll all of a sudden start making $1 million or $5 million a year because you are being influenced and surrounding yourself with people who think like you do. So it ultimately comes down to, getting past your limiting beliefs and realizing that anything's possible. And that's one of the things that's most important about going to live events, and one of the things that changed for me. My mentor told me to get to every single event, never miss events. Of course, that's what I did, and it changed everything for me. I started to surround myself with people who all made 6, 7, 8, 9 figures a year, okay? And so I was, companies that had doing 9 figures a year. I mean, it was just mind-blowing. And so you start to listen to these conversations. You start to, learn about their tools and their resources and their tactics and their strategies, and most importantly, their level of belief and their personal development, the growth that they've had in their life. This really changed everything for me, and I started to become a student, and I consumed literally every book I can get my hands on. I remember walking into Barnes & Noble many times and literally having 2 full arms up to my chin full of books, and walking up to the counter, and the Barnes & Noble lady was just kind of jaw would hit the floor, and everybody in line would be looking at me going, what is this guy doing? But I was just a student. I just wanted to learn, and I still do to this day. I want to learn everything I possibly can when it comes to success, when it comes to business, when it comes to marketing, sales, and mindset. So I'm still very much a student, not as many books these days because most things in digital format, so literally everything I read is online these days. But I tell you, I'm just always, and I haven't met any successful person that doesn't do this. Most of them have huge libraries. They not very often do they watch television or anything like that. They're not consumed with CNN or anything like that. They are consumed with their own success. They're consumed with achievement and belief and realizing that anything's possible. So going to events is a big part of that. That's one thing that changed my mind. So I want to, of course, encourage each and every single one of you to come to our event here in Vegas in a couple of weeks. Obviously, you've probably been getting our emails. You've probably been getting our texts. You've probably seen it mentioned on social. You've got to take the leap for it. You've got to do it. You've got to get there. Even if it's $500, if it's $700, would you spend $500 or $700 to learn how to earn 6 or 7 or to be surrounded by 6 and 7 figure earners? I know I would all day long. So, I mean, look how much money we spent in college, 2, 4, 6, 8 years to make $50,000, $60,000 a year for the rest of our life. That's crazy. So to spend $500 to go to an event in Las Vegas and learn from 6 and 7 figure earners, learn from people like myself, like John, who are going to give you the keys to the kingdom and show you what's possible and how to do it. I mean, I would do that all day long, and I did, and that's a big game changer for me, and I know John can attest to that as well. So get to that event. Do everything you can. Scrape, borrow, whatever you got to do to get to the event. It will be the catalyst to your belief. And when your belief changes, then your actions will change. And when your actions change, your whole life changes. So this is one of the things that you want to take advantage of more than anything. I definitely want you to go to the RISE event. I definitely want you to go to all of these other events that we have. But this is where it begins. This is the first digital altitude event. This is the first event that is going to take everything to the next level for you, just like it did to me when I went to my first event. So I highly encourage you to get to this event. Nothing else really matters. You can watch the RISE tutorials. You can watch all the other tutorials, go through the steps, all, of course, incredibly important. But nothing is going to be the same as sitting across from your mentors, sitting across from your coaches, face-to-face, learning one-on-one, sitting, having a cocktail for those who drink. Maybe you're at one of the lounges or one of the, when we're in Vegas, or maybe you're sitting poolside and you're talking to your coach, you're talking to one of these 6- and 7-figure earners, and ultimately they're giving you the keys to the kingdom. This is where the gold nuggets happen. This is where the real stuff happens. So I highly encourage you again to get to this event. It's really all that matters in your path to success. It's going to essentially give you all the tools you need to get up the mountain. We have all the systems. We have all the things you need. But getting to the event, it's kind of like climbing a mountain, John. It's kind of like climbing a mountain alone. So ultimately, it's just you behind your desk and your desktop, watching the RISE tutorials, watching the Aspire tutorials, listening to this call. It's just you by yourself in your room, just like it is me, just like it is John. He's doing this from his home office, okay? But when you go to an event, all of a sudden now, you're climbing with dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of other people that you're going to meet at these events. You make friends that last a lifetime. I guarantee that most of John's friends who are on his 10-digit speed dial are all people he met at a live event. I know mine are. So that's one of the keys that you got to understand is it's all about who you surround yourself with, who you connect with, and that is all going to happen at events. So it's a difference between climbing the mountain behind your screen or climbing the mountain, okay, or climbing the mountain with others. I don't know anybody that's ever climbed a mountain, especially Mount Everest or any of those out mountains. They don't climb those alone. They climb them with a team. They climb them with other people who think like them, who talk like them, who walk like them. Those are the people that get to the top with others. And that's the only thing that's going to happen at the live event once you get there. That is the one thing that you will be able to do. You'll be able to climb with other people. So get to the event and do anything you can. I know you did, John. I know I did when I first got started. I did whatever it took to get to that first event. It changed everything for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, Michael, would you tell us a bit about your early beginnings? Because I think we've got a lot of people here that are perhaps their first entrepreneurial effort that they've ever made, and fortunately for them, they found digital altitude, right? So that's very, very fortunate. But sometimes people may look and say, well, Michael and John and, some of these other people that we hear on these calls, Alex and Ash, Ali, and all these guys, they're kind of, they've already arrived, special or something. And I know we may not admit it to ourselves, but sometimes we put people on a pedestal, which is one of the reasons why I like to let people know, hey, I was a mechanic, right? I was never successful in, direct sales or anything like this until I made a deliberate effort to get around other people who were and to assimilate all that I could from all these different people. But I mean, you weren't born into multimillionaire success status, were you? Is that how that happened for you?
No, not quite. To give you my full story, I mean, I grew up on a ranch in Northern California up towards Lake Tahoe. I grew up on 250 acres. We had about 100 horses, and I pretty much spent my first year all the way up until my 18th year not leaving about a 300-mile radius my entire life and living out in the middle of nowhere away from everybody. But I learned a lot of valuable lessons. Like they always say, champions aren't made in the ring. They're made in the gym when no one else can see them, where no one else sees their struggle and their pain. And that's ultimately what happened to me on the ranch. I used to wake up at 4:30 in the morning to feed the horses, drive the tractors, all those kind of things. And then it was a mile and a half. I mean, it sounds cliche, but it was a mile and a half walk down a dirt road to get to the bus. And then once I got to the bus, then it was an hour and a half to our main school. And that was quite a journey every single morning to go to school and then home again. So I learned all of those lessons that the ranch teaches you. And it's funny enough, I've met a lot of successful people that all had similar upbringings and backgrounds. Oddly enough, many of them are internet marketers too, because that's kind of my circle of influence. But that's where we got the work ethic. That's where we got the drive, the determination, the motivation, the fortitude, the discipline, all of those kind of things. That's what creates success, ultimately, to be able to wake up when you don't feel like waking up and doing the things you don't feel like doing and creating habits of the things that are most effective in your life and surrounding yourself with other successful people is one of the catalysts to success. So everyone's always looking for the keys. Everyone's always looking for the secret sauce, but it's all within you. It's just a matter of surrounding yourself with the right people and, getting the right information. So one of the keys, after even once I, got out of the, once I got out of the ranch and, I joined the Marines, I wanted to join the Marines because I wanted to see the world ultimately. That was the big, advertisement back then, John, be one of the few, the proud, the Marines, right? See the world, all that kind of stuff. So I did that and spent 4 years in the Marines. And then after that, this was kind of the advent of the internet. I got out in '96, so this was kind of the first Silicon Valley boom and all this kind of stuff. So billionaires and millionaires were being created all the time on the internet in the mid-'90s. So I immediately jumped online and wanted to figure it all out. Went to the School of Hard Knocks and trial and error, and there was a lot of years there, but it was a very big struggle. I mean, I've been married 22 years now, but my wife, we were both waiting tables when I got out of the Marines, and just, in the midnight hour, I'd be surfing through the internet to try to find everything I could to learn about how to make money online, and, went through, this was long before Google, Facebook, YouTube, anything. This was back in the Yahoo days. I mean, this was even, Yahoo was still one of the first out there, but you guys probably all remember the first search engines, and we were learning pay-per-click and all of these kind of things. I mean, just any way we could do to find, so we learned about sales and marketing and sales funnels, all things that were all new to me that I had no idea. And I just found it fascinating. Always been kind of an early adopter in my world. I just like new stuff. I like new technologies. I mean, I've been an Apple guy since the late '90s, long before the boom. So I just pick up on technologies. I was at a Google account long before anyone. I had a Facebook account in 2000, I think 7 or 8, back when it was still in the college. So there's just been a lot of things. I just tend to focus on trends and things, kind of be ahead of the curve, if you will. And so I kind of zoomed in all of that stuff and anything that was up and coming. And it was the Wild West back then, the internet. And some people consider the internet to be the Wild West still, but it's amazing the leverage that can be created online. I started to learn about things like leverage, and you got to realize the system that you have, that you're utilizing now, and the systems that you can leverage are just night and day from trading time for money or getting your hands dirty to put dollars in your pocket. It's just insane. I mean, the stuff that you can do, the automation, the systems that are all built into the Aspire and Digital Altitude is just phenomenal. And this is stuff that I wouldn't even have dreamed of having when I first got started. It was even more difficult, far more difficult back then. But now I've essentially given you the keys to the kingdom, given you all the tools and tactics and strategies that will essentially shorten your learning curve and allow you to create results 100 times faster than even I did. But again, remember that you're on the internet, so you already have levels of leverage that you will never have offline. Your cost is already so low, you don't have to have employees or space, rent, inventory, insurance, liabilities, or any of those other headaches that you would with a traditional business. Online is really all you need is an ad budget. Everything else is taken care of. I mean, it's absolutely insane to see how quickly and easily you can start an online business. You would absolutely get crushed in the real world. Online, you can create a business out of, very, very small capital investment compared to traditional business, and you can be off and running, changing your life and your family's life very quickly. But again, you just have to set your proper expectations and understand that, you're doing things that are a little bit ahead of the curve. So there's going to be people maybe in your family or friends that don't quite get it yet. I mean, we're still trying to convince people that the world is not flat, ultimately. People still don't quite understand, the whole internet thing. But ultimately, we're selling education. That's our product. Now, people buy education day in and day out. Look at Harvard. Look at the community college. How much money did you spend at college to get an education, and how much did that make you? Okay, so maybe you're out there making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, but you had to spend, maybe $50,000 for, or maybe $100,000, maybe $150,000 for a degree or, certification or something, right? So that's what we're offering. It just happens to be online, and we're shortening the learning curve. You don't necessarily have to go out and learn about science and history and all these other boring topics that people don't want to learn about. You can just learn the skill, right? And then you can start to earn an income. And then you'll be able to write your paycheck for life once you've learned the skill, because it doesn't matter what you sell. Ultimately, of course, we want you to sell and promote these kind of our products because they're the most lucrative out there. But ultimately, you can take this education and knowledge and go sell whatever you want to sell. I mean, I've been training and coaching people that have sold everything under the sun on the internet over the last 15 years. So And they still email me and message me today thanking me that I was their first start online and I was the first one who taught them this or taught them that or taught them about pricing or marketing and taught them about sales, taught them about sales funnels and taught them about all these kind of things that really began to change their life. I mean, you got to remember I've been earning and living as a internet marketer at the seven-figure level for over 15 years online. So it changed everything for me and my family, and it's the reason why I want to pass it on, John, is I want to be able to share it with everyone else and help them know and realize what's really possible when they put their mind to it and or when they just follow our simple system and utilize it, because we've really simplified everything for them to make it super simple to duplicate.
Well, I spent quite a bit of money on my own education after leaving, what was offered to me in public schools and such. And I'm estimating around $250,000 in terms of, educational courses, home study programs, going to seminars and events and stuff like this. And some people might look at that as extreme. Now, it sounds like you've probably spent at least that yourself in your own journey since the 1990s. And now, of course, you're providing an opportunity for people to gain all the things that you've gleaned over the years and that other leaders here have seen that has worked for them. And once again, to accelerate the process so that people can reach their goals, hopefully faster than you reach yours. I know I tell that to people all the time when I'm meeting new people that I'm coaching, is that if I can give you every possible advantage to, not only, get what you want, and do it faster than I did, but also to avoid some of the pitfalls that I discovered, in my time here, then that's what I'm here to do, to give you every possible advantage. Now, in my case, I've been, reading, you mentioned, good books and studying, good information. There's a saying that successful people have big libraries, unsuccessful people have big TVs. I've got a big TV too, but I'm in my library more often than I'm in my, TV room. But the point is that we deliberately sought out information to supplement that which we had gotten either through, indoctrination or public schools or just through osmosis, hearing the massive social agreement about, limitations. And like you mentioned in Europe, people were a bit shocked that you had the lifestyle that you have, right? So there's a bit of, we've got to be deliberate in terms of what we put into our minds and what we allow into our minds. And so in this case, I saw opportunities throughout my time here to invest in my own education, my own ability to earn, my own ability to do marketing, my own ability to get what I want out of life. And again, the price tag on that, if I add it all up, is so far it's about $250,000, maybe a little bit higher. But what has that been worth to me? Compared to the college education, and certainly there's a need for specialized knowledge. You're going to be a brain surgeon or something. You're going to be an astronaut. Hey, you gotta pay the price. There's long years of education and specialized knowledge. That's fine. Now that was not my path, okay. And I would argue that there are very, very few people who have paid that price of a 10-year doctorate degree or what have you, who earn or could earn the level of income that a successful marketer can earn. People realize that the highest paid profession, statistically, in the world, the highest paid profession is sales and marketing. Like you can't get any higher. Now, there are, cases where, here's a rock star, right, who made millions and millions of dollars because they got a hit, thing, and they go on concert tours, and okay, that can happen too, but there's very few Billy Joels. There's very few, Elton Johns, or modern times, let's say Lady Gaga or whatever. There's very few Lady Gagas, thank goodness. But when we look at that, what is the likelihood of somebody making it in stardom, right? And that sort of music thing. I was in the music business for a little while, Michael. It was not profitable. It was basically a hobby, but there was a commercial aspect to it as well. We had the CDs, we had the T-shirts. But no way, would I have just depended on that and only that for for a living, right? I mean, there were some entrepreneurial things that I learned in that field, but it was not something that was profitable. And I recognized, a lot of my peers who were way more talented than myself and my bandmates and stuff that were still broke, right? The music itself was reward. okay? But the lifestyle of, the traveling musician, oh, it's brutal, right? The whole starving artist syndrome. So now I'm thinking about what is the easier, softer way, because I think here we are in the world of the internet where there's so many people purporting, overnight success type of results and, microwave results, this sort of thing. And it's real, neat to see that people have, you got a Ferrari now. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. But what's the easiest path to get to that? Is it, the 10 plus years of college and paying that price? I think not. I think it's learn marketing, become competent in the highest paid profession that exists in the world. And you don't have to be a superstar. You don't have to be lucky. You don't have to have nice hair. Right, Michael? You don't have to have nice hair. You can be who you are. In fact, who you are is good enough, and it will attract your ideal prospect, your ideal customer or participant, and it will repel the people who will never buy from you anyway. So we're actually creating our own personal brand, our own unique expression in the marketplace. Now, for me, that required a good amount of personal growth. So back to the whole point of me investing in my own evolution, okay? So I grew up on the streets of New Jersey. I was broke. There was a lot of abuse in my life. I was least likely to succeed, right, and all that. And yet here I am, right? And I can compare what I've been able to accomplish thus far in my life to my peers from my youth and see what they've accomplished up to this point, if I can even find them. Some of them, a lot of them, don't even have a Facebook page or certainly not a YouTube channel or anything like that, but I can go and I can seek people out. And some of these people are still in the gutter. I mean, some of them are worse off. Some of them are, I'm sure, deceased by now. But the point is that I was motivated. I had the vision, like what we started our call with today. I had the vision for my own ability, for my own greatness, that yes, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Should I get motivated and take some new action? But for me to take that new action, I had to learn some things that I did not previously learn. So in my case, was the investment worth it? The investment of the time studying and going to events and immersing myself in this environment of success? Certainly, right? Was the financial investment worth it? Certainly. Put $250,000 in and get millions out? Yeah, sign me up for that deal. Oh, and not have to go and sit for 10 years and listen to professors drone on about stuff that I'm frankly not interested in. As high as my IQ is, I dropped trigonometry in high school because I just wasn't interested. And where there is no interest, there is no aptitude. It's like there's no use for this in my life. Right now, when it comes to English and writing, right, which now we can call here in the marketing space, we can call that copywriting, right? Oh, I was top of my class. You want to talk about words? I got some words, right? So different people have different aptitudes, and I think for everyone who's here, and you have an interest in success in the sales and marketing fields, you naturally have an aptitude. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here, right? So interest renders aptitude. Michael, this is one of the things I talk about in my first book. Interest renders aptitude. The fact that people are here in this conversation right now is evidence that they can do this, that they can have what they want. Right now, it's not going to be an effortless victory. And by goodness, I will take every advantage I can possibly get, every advantage I can possibly get to reach high above mediocrity, to not be a part of the statistics. What are the statistics in the home business space, right? Like 3% of people succeed. And certainly we get to hear this from, outsiders, because after all, what you're not up on, you're down on, right? Well, I heard about that guy and, he tried that home business deal and, he lost money. And so, everything equals everything and everything's bad. and so, my goodness, I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm not in that conversation. Right? So when
yeah, John, what's funny about that is that if people knew the statistics to Harvard and they knew the statistics to all these other colleges that people start when they see a 90% failure rate and people dropping out and never achieving any of their goals, then it's really a wake-up call. And to chime in really quick, John, because I'm at 1%, I just wanted to, thank you for inviting me on this call and hope I was able to add some value to everybody here as well. But I want to make sure that I don't lose you, brother, and drop off. Because I'm at 1%, so I just wanted to, politely just let you know that, just so in case I lose my battery here.
Oh, okay. Well, we all right. So we got Michael just for maybe a couple minutes. Here's what I'm going to do. I did not realize that you were mobile and that you did not have a charger. So I'm going to go ahead and see if we can get a Q&A session going here real quick. Guys, I'm not sure how many people we're going to be able to hear from simply because of the battery situation, but here we go. Okay, so Q&A session has started, and if we can stick with Michael here for just a bit, you can raise your hand by pressing *6, or if you're on the console, you can go ahead and raise your hand by whatever the means is there. You can just click the command. I'll be happy to bring you out live on the call if you'd like to ask Michael a question. You've got the founder of Digital Altitude right here. Lines are open. Q&A mode has begun.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys. These iPhones die a lot faster than I like to deal with. But when you're talking on them all day, they really go quick.
Yeah, understood. I got one of those portable batteries that I can wear on my belt. You'll see me wearing that at the event in Las Vegas, by the way. Okay, Q&A session. I know it's Labor Day, and so we've got a lighter crowd than usual. We've got Bruno. Oh, we had Bruno. Bruno disappeared. All right. So one more time before we lose Michael. There's Bruno. Hold on. Here we go. And Bruno, you're live on the air.
Hey, John. I listen to you all the time. You're an inspiration.
Thank you. Do you have a question for Michael tonight, Bruno?
Yes, and Michael, too. Michael Force, thank you for creating this wonderful business and this opportunity for all of us. Very anxious to meet you guys.
Absolutely, Bruno. Look forward to it. Hopefully you can make it up to Vegas. Love to shake your hand.
Here, Michael. Can't wait to make it to Vegas and see you guys.
Fantastic, Bruno. We will see you there. Thank you for jumping out first. We're going to go next to Willie. And Willie Sanders, you're live on the air. Willie, are you there? Go ahead and unmute your line, Willie. Okay, Willie, one more try. Willie. Okay, well, we did not hear from Willie. Let's go next to Alfredo Delgado. And Alfredo, you're live on the air.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, perfect. Just have a quick question. I can ask anything regarding the business. I just want an update on something. Is that fine?
Yeah, you've got me and you've got Michael Force, the founder of the business right here. So between the two of us, we may be able to answer your question.
Awesome. I'm really interested in something that was mentioned about being able to re-engage with some of the older trial members. Is that going to happen? Is that something that's going to be put in place soon?
Okay, we may have lost Michael. That might have been the end.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
There he is.
I'm here. Retargeting is, sorry, I was on mute there. Yeah, retargeting is all part of the plan for 30-day-old data. These are a little more advanced tactics and strategies, I'm sure, for people who are other people who are on the line. But absolutely, Alfredo, I mentioned that in a leadership group. We're working on that as we speak to basically reach out to 30 and 60-day-old data and you know, basically bring those people back in the fold and all that good stuff. So that's all an option. We're just scaling our coaches as we speak. As we've mentioned, we're actually heading out to Utah as well this next week. So soon we'll be at 250 coaches or so. So it's all good stuff. But it's all part of the growing pains of any new business. But we're doing numbers that no one has ever done in this space, including, you know, many of the larger, even larger, what people consider larger companies in the past, revenue-wise. And, you know, I think we're upwards over 55,000 members. We're doing $6 to $8 million a month in revenue. It's just, yeah, the numbers are just exploding and only growing by the day. So, yep, it's all coming, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Look forward to meeting you in Vegas.
You got it, man. I look forward to it.
Fantastic. And Alfredo, reach out to me on Skype. We want to get you on one of these calls.
Yes, for sure. I would love to. Thank you, man.
All right. Very good. And let's go next to Jim. And Jim Buckland, you are live on the air. Jim, are you with us?
Yes. Yes,
okay,
I
Jim,
am.
You've got the mic. Go ahead, sir.
Well, it's not working.
Yeah, we're hearing you just fine. Jim, go ahead.
Okay. I really don't have a question now. I'm new at this, and I was just listening in and trying to learn what's going on here.
Oh, fantastic. Welcome, Jim. You're in the right place. And you see that, Michael? We've got people brand new in the business joining us on the Black Diamond Call. Great place to start, Jim. We'll see you on the wake-up calls in the morning as well. We'll see you in Las Vegas.
See ya.
All right, fantastic. And with that, we're going to
going to go ahead and wrap up Q&A. That was our last person who was in the queue. I'm just looking at our chat roll here real quick, and it looks like there's no other questions. So Michael, thanks again if you're still hearing this. Thank you again for being here with us. It's always a pleasure to share the stage with the guy who started it all. So any closing comments from you if you're still on the line?
Yeah, I appreciate that, John. No, absolutely. Kind of just to reiterate what I said, I mean, the biggest game changer for me was getting to live events and getting out there and connecting and rubbing shoulders and being able to talk to the actual people who are getting results day in and day out and being able to learn from them one-on-one, learning from the coaches one-on-one. There's always something to be said for, getting together in person. I think there's just a lot more contact. I mean, we're all human beings. We all love that contact. We all love to connect, and learn from each other individually. So a lot can be done online. A lot can be learned online. But again, like I said, you're always alone behind your screen. With events, you're surrounded by all the people who think like you do, all the people who are on the same path as you are, all the same people who've been up the mountain and can show you the pitfalls, can show you where the bridges are, can show you things to avoid. So this is the very reason why you want to get to live events. I don't know anybody that's ever climbed a mountain that hasn't climbed with someone else. So getting connected one-on-one with people is the biggest thing about live events. So do everything you can. I want to shake your hand. I want to meet you at the live event. And I know that you will tell me even 2 years, 3 years, 20 years from now that first live event was the catalyst for you and your success. So I look forward to it. I look forward to meeting you, John, and hearing everything that you're going to speak about at our event as well as all the other speakers. We have a great lineup of speakers who have phenomenal results in this space and industry and with BA. So you're going to want to learn from all these people. So do everything you can to get to this event and make it happen, and I will see you there. Appreciate it, John.
Fantastic. Thanks, Michael, and thanks, everyone, for joining us on the Black Diamond. I'll be here with everyone tomorrow morning on the wake-up call. Join us there, and in the meantime, have a great night. You certainly deserve it. See you soon.